right, guys. Good. Go ahead.
You could, Matt, tell us just exactly how the crossing route's supposed to work and what went wrong there?
Yeah, it's, I think Trav kind of talked a little bit about it. It's just one of those unfortunate situations where you have one guy going a little bit higher than the other guy. And when you're running some of these crossing routes and mesh routes, sometimes when you have a guy pressing you or, as you're trying to work your release, that can happen. It probably happens more than you think. So it's one of those deals. It's unfortunate that how it happened with our own guy. Kelsey feels terrible and felt terrible, but we also, Xavier of all people understands that things happen, and that happened in that game. And what we got to do is be able to move on from that and adapt to it, adjust to that whole situation. So these guys have been great. It took us probably a series or two, to be honest with you and realistic, in the game to get through that, of how it happened and when it happened. But that's a part of life. It's all about adapting. So I feel like the guys did adapt and adjust better. And so that's what happened on that route.
Did the adapt and just come more from personnel you guys were using, or did you guys have to switch up the game plan at that
Probably a little bit of both, adapting wise. There's some of that initial, Xavier has been a big part of this with the stuff, right? Training camp and practice, etc. So now you are, when you practice, you have so many reps and you're getting reps with those guys, and now you got to adjust. And no one's feeling sorry for us. We're certainly not either. And you got to be the next guy up and be able to adjust in that moment and stick to the details that we talked to all week. And again, I think probably for a series, maybe a series and a half, that didn't happen with all of us, and that's what we got to get better with. Eventually they got better, and I'm proud of the guys for rallying in that moment. I thought they did a much better job.
You know, you take the big first downs and so on, but I imagine you don't want Pat leading and rushing. I guess,
Right.
How do you establish a better run game?
Well, the simple, obvious answer is being able to be better when we run it, whether it's the scheme or the execution. You tie it together. And then, it's a credit to their defense. They did a good job in some of the stuff that they wanted to do. But really in football in general, the more balanced you are, and especially when you look at a team like Philadelphia, it's always going to help. So, but if we're throwing the ball well, we'll stick with it. If we're running it well, and then there's that balance of mixing the two. But you're right. We want to be able to be more balanced when we can. But we also want to continue to just trust each other and use what's best in that game.
How about the left side of the offensive line? How do you think it played?
I thought they did a good job. There was a couple plays here or there where you'd like to get back, whether it's communication or whether it's just something that the defense did. But again, a few things here or there which I think was probably expected. You just didn't want it to be a game changer. There's some that maybe prevented us just with timing of maybe being a little bit more accurate with a throw. Again, that's part of life when you have some newer guys on that side. So these guys are going to keep growing, but I'm proud of the guys.
What about the right side? I mean, it's not newer guys on the right side, and there was plenty of problems.
Well, speaking to the obvious, the penalties, that can't happen, and so that's where we're at. We've made it loud and clear. Jawan knows that. He understands it. It's something that, especially in a moment like that in that game when things are a little bit off kilter now with the personnel, and you start to move the ball, you have a couple positive plays, and then boom, a penalty or a second. So 3 penalties and a hold, not good enough. He knows that. When there's no one hiding from it, he's not hiding from it. He understands what's expected, and I think he's ready for that challenge here as we go.
Circumstances have suddenly raised Taekwon's role. I guess what tells you that he's ready for this moment of additional snaps that he's going to get?
What tells me he's ready is what he's done in training camp the whole entire time he's been ready. So there's, for the guys that we have in that room right now, I said it in training camp, the depth that we have from top to bottom is one of the best I've ever been around from top to bottom, 1 through 6, with all the guys when they're there. It starts to get depleted a little bit with the injuries and other stuff that's going on. But that said, we have guys, they're on the roster for a reason, and they've done a great job. And so now they get their opportunity to show who they are. And I think the biggest thing is the trust. We got to keep working that trust. And then when you get an opportunity, you make a play. Taekwon did that on that one corner route. He made a great play with the ball in the air. So we want to keep that going.
We'll go Sam and then Nate.
Going back to the Jawan penalties, I mean specifically the false starts. When you watch other games, like, that's a pretty frequent
Yeah.
thing, and it's inconsistent from call to call. Is that a conversation you guys are having with referees throughout the game? Are you sort of getting a feel for what you can get away with during a game?
Well, the inconsistency part with the referees is probably subjective with how they do that. But what matters is whoever that ref is that game, whatever they're calling, we got to adjust to them. That's our job as coaches, to let the players know. And then as a player, it's your job to not do it. If they call it one time, second time can't happen. It's as simple as that. Like it's got to stop.
Matt, we know Patrick sort of showed a little bit more physicality because he was trying to get guys energized and get the offense going. How much of that do you appreciate in the moment, but also looking back, how much are you trying to get him to sort of find that balance and maybe lower that sort of
It's a great question
possibilities?
because it's who he is. His natural leadership is at the top of who he is. He's a fiery competitor, and again, in that moment, I'm talking about the game last week. For a series or series and a half, it was probably not where we wanted to be. I can tell you it wasn't. And so as coaches, as players, you should just internally always have that drive and that passion to whatever happens, you move forward. And so I love what he did. That's who he is. He made plays, and I thought in that game, when you look back at how he played in some moments, it was pretty special in that time. So the guys saw that, the players saw it, we as coaches saw it. So now you guys do it too. And if we do that, it can get really good. But we got to do it earlier. It can't be waiting 3 series after.
We're gonna go last to Serenity Nick.
Matt, late, right before you got the last field goal, Travis was on a crossing route.
Yeah.
And he appeared to be jogging, and the cameras, I mean, Pat, seems to say, come on. Like, what was going on that play? Is there a design? Is he trying to sit down in the zone, or, because it seemed like Pat felt like he should have been.
There's a little feel to that. Shallow crosses get unique. Some you have where you read it, where if it's zone, you'll sit, and if it's man, you'll continue on the run. That's day 101 in any offense. Then you'll have some shallows where you don't have a read, and there might be a little bit of a throttle. And so there's a feel to it. And so depending on the coverage and what they do is going to dictate what you do. So just a little bit off on that one. It's one of those ones that at times can be gray. So you can't, I think internally we know where things go with that. But I mean, again, to defend both the guys, which is real, is there is, in some concepts, there can be some gray. I would say that one may have had a little gray, but there's been several times where there's concepts that are gray where it's worked and we don't talk about it. So that was just one of those ones. Those guys they talk about it, we figure it out, and I think we know moving forward internally what we want.
Nick?
Matt, from an execution, discipline, and mentality perspective,
Yeah.
what do you need to see from this offense on Sunday, given that Fangio is on the other side?
All of that from the very first play. And so the energy, the execution is very, very simple. The energy is organic. It can't be fake energy, and it's not going to need to be in this game. Coach Fangio, we all have a ton of respect for him, what he does. He does what he does, and he's going to have some curveballs and change-ups that he throws at you. But in the end, it's about playing football fast, and whoever does that better. And I think a fast start, playing fast, being able to be aggressive, mixing all that together, you'll have good results. And so we're really looking forward to the challenge.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you. Y'all take care.